looks like the lines for gas are still long. So the good on that is it means there is gas, and the less good is still long lines, and they're probably still charging expensive. So I'm out for breakfast because I don't want to use up all the cooking gas that I have left, because I am insisting we save that for the hot water in the shower. The big news overnight is that the president addressed the nation, and she gave a speech saying that she's proposing a proyecto de ley, which is to say a bill to move the general elections up to the second Sunday in October, and the runoff, if needed, which it will be needed, to December. Anyway, even restaurants are starting to run low on the gas that they need for specific stoves and all that kind of stuff, and are having to hunt around to find stuff. So it remains to be seen whether the proposal from the president is anything more than an attempt to push responsibility for the situation onto Congress. And it remains to be seen how they will respond, and it remains to be seen whether even moving things up to October is going to be soon enough for people who are protesting, and it remains to be seen whether people who are protesting, who in many cases are specifically protesting the number of deaths and the state violence that they see as happening, whether they're going to be okay with letting the current president stay in power throughout another year, or what have you. So there's also the question on the floor of having a constitutional assembly to make constitutional amendments, and that also
traffic looks pretty normal around Lima.
Dang, the mayor of
Grande,
Cusco is declaring members of Congress
towards Arcopuncu, which is on the way to Avenida de la Cultura, which is the main drag through Cusco from north to south. And normal, but pretty light, because there's still not that many cars on the road, what with the gas shortage.
Anyway, so this gas station also has lines for it. There's still plenty of buses for transit and everything, so that's a non-issue. But let's see what the situation is at the gas station itself. And it looks like there is some rationing, maybe some controlling of it. They're out of some kinds of gas, and there's an attendant who is letting people in and directing them to where they can go. And it looks like this sign says only 50 soles worth of gas. That's all anybody can buy at this time. Sitting here at the feet of a rather significant statue. That's Tupac Amaru II, revolutionary leader, here in Plaza Tupac Amaru, and just looking around on a reasonably pleasant Monday morning. There's a whole wall of memorials to his family and immediate lieutenants and whatnot who were tortured to death with him. And as it stands right now, there are collection events going on to support the protests happening. So this is pretty much what it looks like, where people are being fed. Not much in the way of meals right now, but wood-fired cook stoves and feeding is happening. As for me, I thought I would get a latte and then a fresh manicure, because it was about time. So Congress voted to reconsider whether to move up elections. Not to move them up, but to reconsider. And with my nails looking much less ragged, I came home to check in on social media and see what people were saying, which was a whole lot of really alarmist stuff. Okay, look, folks, I'm going to try to shoot as straight as I can. I'm in Cusco. I live in Cusco. This is Cusco, live behind me. It's not a green screen. What you see is some people lining up for gas, which is freshly back in stock because it was out of stock due to roadblocks for a couple of days. But it's back in stock now. You can see that there are people walking on the sidewalk. There are families out and about and all of this kind of stuff. Today I went out for a nice breakfast, and then I went and did some shopping, and then I went and got a manicure, lovely manicure. And this is what it is like, for the most part, being here in Cusco right now. Now, if you're a tourist and you're trying to do things on a super tight schedule, that might pose some issues. You may need to actually be flexible and pick different days to do different things, or not try to, go by land to Puno, which is an active conflict zone, and stuff like that, right? And yes, there is, periodic protest, and generally speaking, it is peaceful. And that being said, it is still noisy. Like, people make noise. I'm gonna cut in like a little picture of people walking past where I was getting my fancy manicure while I was doing it. And the thing is, if this stresses you out, if you think this is scary, then I'm just gonna say Latin America may not be a tourism experience that you're gonna enjoy in general. Listen, I'm not trying to minimize the fact that travel disruption can be stressful. And I'm not trying to say that absolutely nothing is going on and everything is 100% normal here in Cusco and in Peru in general right now, because it's not. But for people who think it's terrifying, I mean, go to the USA. You've had more deaths in the USA this year than there have been since this current government took power. Okay, I keep going back and forth trying to find the best way to say this, but I'm hearing from some people who are here as tourists or who are expatriates or whatever, who feel that it is very scary to be here right now. And I'm not entirely sure what it is that they're finding that scary. If it's just having people be protesting in the streets, which is, it gets old. It is noisy. It's not, generally speaking, dangerous, and you can leave. It is inconvenient, and it does mean that if you're here on a tight tourism schedule, you may not be able to do everything that you wanted to do in the order that you wanted, or you may not be able to do some things at all. So if those things are your top priorities, yeah, now is not the time to come here. But if you're able to be flexible and kind of keep your head on straight, then there's a whole lot of good stuff to be done here. And it's more stressful, probably, I would say, for people who live here and are at risk of running out of hot water for the shower, because there's lines to get a tank of propane and that kind of thing. So, what can I say? Also, it would be great to know what's going to happen politically, but we don't yet. It's still this very much kind of stalemate situation. Oh, and if that's not enough, there's still more ramping up of protests that has been called for over the next few days, so here's hoping. As it happens, I have to go to the dentist tomorrow for more major dental work, which super delightful. Anyway, life goes on, and that's the report from Cusco today.